Hey VLA family, welcome back. We're going to get started on our essay series again. We are going to be looking at an essay from the ELA 9B course, and we are going to be doing some analyzing in relationship to a quotation. So here we go. So, in the ELA 9B class, we have a prompt: write an essay that analyzes one work of literature you have read from the perspective of a quotation. In your essay, interpret the quotation and explain whether it applies to the work of literature you have read. Support your opinion using literary terms and elements as well as details from the text. So to break this down into a little bit more common language, you're going to write an essay that analyzes one work of literature. Now, literature could be a poem, it could be a short story, it could be a book series. For those of you who've read a book series, that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. But you could use a short story that you had just recently read, like The Most Dangerous Game. One of the reasons it's very important that you've read it is it helps you with your writing. As you can see, I start on the Harry Potter series below here, and we'll get more into that I have a lot of information already. And that's just background information, and that is how we choose something's very important. You want to pick something that you have a lot of background information in, something that you've read, you've seen the movies, you're very well versed in. So you're going to interpret this quotation and explain whether it applies to the work of literature. So the quote is, "Character is what you are in the dark." And you're going to support your opinion using literary terms and elements as well as details from the text. So when we talk about character is what you are in the dark, we're talking about stripping away your finery. That's a quote from the High Sparrow in Game of Thrones. What will we find when we strip away your finery? A lot of times people mistake material items for character. Having a fancy car, having a lot of money. That doesn't necessarily make someone a good person. It doesn't necessarily make them a bad person either. So it's important to remember what a person has on the inside, and how they treat others is their character, how they approach the world, how they view the world. And your character is, deep within you. There's no one in the world who can know what you really think unless you say it out loud. So we're going to be making judgments based on these characters, based on their actions and the things they say, and kind of try to explain their character based on these remarks. If you were analyzing someone that you knew, right now we would say a lot of our first responders, one of their character traits is to be healers, and they're working very hard to do that for us. So when we get into the Harry Potter series, yes, there's a lot of spoilers here, so be warned. One of the first characters I'm going to discuss is Severus Snape. Now you can see, again, I told you I have tons of information here from background knowledge. Because I'm going to be following a 5-paragraph essay format, I went ahead and pre-wrote basically my body paragraph here. It's very fragmented. It gives me some ideas, but it gives me a blueprint for what I'm going to follow. And we talk about outlining a lot in Edgenuity, and they want you to outline things. What I've done here is really a rough outline, and I'll show you a little bit more about that after I read through it. So for Severus Snape, we know he was a teacher at Hogwarts. He wants to be a defense against the dark arts teacher, and he's trusted by Dumbledore, who's the headmaster, but not really anyone else. He's also trusted by Voldemort, who's a lead bad guy, our antagonist. See right there, I dropped that antagonist. That's a literary term, and we should be using some literary terms. So it's good to try and remember what those words are. He's a former Death Eater. He dresses all in black. His clothes are very restrictive and secretive. He has a lot of buttons and long sleeves. He's a double agent, and he dies as a result of his commitment to the cause of the greater good. He loved Harry's mother, but was bullied by Harry's father, godfather, and friends. Basically, all his good deeds were punished, but he kept going. We have Dumbledore. He's the headmaster. He's pretty much beloved by all, except for some Ministry of Magic people. And, of course, the Death Eaters, who are Voldemort followers. He's wise, he's powerful, he's got a phoenix. He gives a lot of support to Harry. We know he had a strained relationship with his family and his brother. He wasn't perfect. At one point when young, he supported pureblood ideologies. For those of you who have not read the series, a pureblood ideology would be, similar to what the Nazis did. They believe in genocide, they believe in oppressing other people, based on their lack of magic and basically making them slaves. So it was not a pretty ideology. But similar to Snape, he understood that people could change and become better people like he did. And so with Harry Potter, he was oppressed by his extended family. He was an orphan. He was adopted by his aunt. He finds out late in his youth that he's a wizard. Suddenly his circumstances change, and he has a magic adopted family consisting of friends, their families, his godfather, and teachers. He's sort of in the dark a lot about his own powers, his past with Voldemort, and he learns and grows throughout the series. Along the way, he must learn to be about being a teen, becoming an adult, saving the magical world as we know it. He's bullied, and at times he lashes back at Draco Malfoy, and he grows as a result. So wow, I have a lot of information here. And I have a feeling that even once I develop one of these characters, say just Severus Snape, this might be 3 whole paragraphs of information. And I might end up just throwing some of these ideas out or using them to support my ideas about Snape. But you see, I've gotten plenty of information down on the page. Now, I said I'd get back to talking about outlining. Students tend to get kind of hung up like on the whole format of outlining, which is why I say doing it this way and kind of having a strain of consciousness thought process and just kind of getting it on the paper, it's basically the same. And I'm going to show you why. So if I were to put my fancy one there, like I'm outlining, ooh, it's so fancy. And I were to put my fancy A here. Oh, it bumped it right over for me. I could even put that in there. Okay. So now we have Severus Snape, a teacher at Hogwarts. We could leave that as his descriptor. We hit enter. We hit tab. Oh my goodness, what did it do? It is putting it into outline form for me. And all I really have to do is section off my ideas and hit enter. Enter. And there we go. Now I have this in more of an outline format. So as you guys can see, don't be put off by that outlining. You don't have to do it that way. You could do it in a strain of consciousness paragraph. You could do it in a mind map and then change your mind map on paper, into a string of consciousness. Anything like that would work. But it's getting those ideas down. And you see, I haven't really started this time with my thesis statement. We'll work on that more last time. All I wanted to do today was get my ideas down on paper in regards to what I could say about these characters. So that's about it for today. I was trying to find me. Where'd I put me? There I am. So that's all I have to say for today. Don't forget, if you're confused on any ideas or even looking up literary terms, you can always go to the OWL and look some of that stuff up. But I think this should be pretty straightforward with getting your pre-writing done or just focusing on reading a short story several times so you know you'll have a lot to say about it. And we'll see you next week. Good luck. Stay cool. Stay healthy. Bye-bye.